All right, let's get started. I think we're okay. All right, everyone, thanks for coming. My name is Paul, Digital Watchdog. I'm the Director of Education Programs here, and today we're going to go through several things: our IP speakers, our illuminators, network device, some new features in the DW Cloud, along with client features, a little bit about how the events in action works, and then we'll do a little Q&A afterwards if you guys got any questions. So by all means, stick around for that. Sometimes we get some really good questions. So what we're going to talk about is our IP speakers. First off, fully compatible with DW. Spectrum will automatically discover these, so they're usable with Spectrum more or less right after you plug them in. Up to 30 watts of power. We have a 15-watt unit, built-in mics, PoE, 12 volt, 24 volt, and the horn versions and the wall mount versions are all outdoor ready. The horn versions, we have a 15 watt and a 30 watt. You can do schedule audio alerts out of these, and I'll show you a little information on that. Built-in web server into it, outdoor rated, brackets included. Great for background music, sending out pre-recorded messages though, if your security system picks up something, and because they're SIP compatible, they'll work with phone systems. So what this SIP really means is Session Initiated Protocol is a standard IP phone protocol. So you initiate, manage, and terminate voice or video calls. It's the most common protocol used in almost every network phone system around. We also have a ceiling mount version. So again, this is to the ceiling, so it's more indoors, built-in 30 watts, alarm inputs for direct integration with a third-party device, and again, web server built into it. We also have the wall mount version. Again, built-in microphone for two-way audio, support for HTTP, for in-alarm transit. Again, these all, once we get to the program very much the same way. So what you use these for? Use these for deterrence, indoors or outdoors. You can use them, make safety announcements, or you can just have, again, using AI to, let's say a person's not supposed to be in an area at a certain time, pre-recorded announcement comes up saying you're in a restricted area, please leave the area as soon as possible, thank you, or whatever other sort of announcement you want to make on it. And now we're going to talk about the programming on these. Once you learn one model, you've learned them all. Okay, so here's the main status web page when you hit one, when you're first logging into it, and it's going to give you the device time, the serial number, the model number, firmware, SIP status, if any, and then your MAC address, IP address, and your information that's in there. If we go to the camera with the bracket on it there, the wall mount camera, same thing, serial number information and MAC address, IP address. So these will all program the same way. So your basic thing is you can set it for DHCP to get DHCP off the network, or static. Okay, so you can see your subnet mask gateway. Whether you're going to get commands via HTTP or HTTPS, maybe you only want HTTPS commands to come to it, which are basically encrypted commands, or make it for both. And then you have your ports for HTTP and HTTPS. And then, of course, you can set your time. And again, time is very important. Make sure you're setting a time, at least linking it to the server versus leaving the time out of it alone. And I'll show you why in a second, why you don't want to do that. So here's your SIP setup. So I am not a master of voice over IP, but you have your username, authorization, password, display name, what you want to call the device, incoming, answer, notify, you're going to use UDP or TCP to communicate with it. But this basically will put this thing and create it as an extension on a phone system. So if you want to make an announcement, you hit extension 59, and maybe you can make an announcement to all the speakers. But if you want to do extension 60, that might only be for the warehouse, and 61 might only be for the front office, and so on. So you can set these up in different ways via that. The audio section is interesting because, again, from the factory, we have all these codecs turned on. So if something comes in and it's in a codec, we can just decode it. You can set your volume. amplifier on and off. I turned on the amp in this one. It did make it louder, but you can adjust the volume there. It does use a little more power. Jitter buffer. Jitter buffer is for if you have a slow, maybe it's going over some weird wireless connection or whatever, and so you have uneven ping times. This can adjust for that and make the audio look very clear or sound clearer. You can also do a little noise reduction on it. And then this is for the microphone. Same thing. You've got noise reduction for background noise, stuff like that, gain. And then you can make an adjustment to the noise reduction on it to give you clearer audio from the speaker. And we'll go to the next one, maybe. There we go. All right. So here's where in the device you have your built-in sounds. These are canned sounds like really different bells. I think number 3 will scare you. It sounds like a school, like emergency school bell. It's very loud, very annoying. But you can also upload at least 10 of your own files. So you could have certain announcements that run on the scheduler, which we see over here, can run at certain times on the scheduler. Again, we'll talk more about that. But also, Spectrum can create, you can create an event in Spectrum and have it play an audio file that's in Spectrum, and we have some built-in ones in here, or you can upload your own. So you can have, again, I think I have this one set for motion or whatever emotion it's going to do one of these notifications, but you can upload your own. You do have the ability of uploading a longer one in Spectrum. You can actually upload it as long as you want. I believe the other one is limited by megabits, so you only have a certain number of megabits to upload an audio file into it. Speaker programming. So this is the alarm input. So again, you can have it use a built-in file or one of the files you created and have it play that when the alarm input is triggered. So it might be the alarm system is directly wired to that. The alarm system goes off. This thing plays an event saying, please, or fire system, please go to the door carefully. Don't trample each other. Maybe have it run for a certain duration, like 1 minute, 5 minutes or whatever, or play the announcement 10 times. So another thing we're starting to add to all of our accessory devices is this HTTP command page. It's formatted differently depending on the device, which we'll see on the Illuminators. But this gives you the proper way of having a third-party device, or if you want to do a custom, what we call a soft trigger in Spectrum, create an announcement. You put the IP address in. You're saying, okay, we're going to hit the API of this particular device. The action is start and file, which means it's going to play a media file. And then you can just say bell and then user file 10, and then away you go. So example, 192.168.1 that play this particular action, that's bell number 1, play a sound in cycle mode, set volume, and so on. So this way you can send commands to this from, like I said, third-party device or create some sort of custom action. But the instructions are right there in this web page, and you can open up the web page in Spectrum, because Spectrum has a full Chromium browser in it. So anything that's on the network that also is browser-based, so it could be a switch, okay, it could be device XYZ can access control, you can go in and see their web page. Ours just happen to have this little web page built in, so it treats it like a camera, and it goes into the web page here, and we can see we have the exact instructions, including the IP address of the actual device. So you don't really have to do that much, except maybe change the volume, change the count time, or whatever. So the other thing is the scheduler. So this is the schedule from the wall mount ceiling speaker, and this allows you to create a schedule for your announcements. Okay, so here's one actually in action. So we've got lunch announcement, which is just one of the bells in there. Morning break over after 15 minutes, afternoon break over, and then the end of day alarm. Okay, so you can create the different alarm events on there very easily and create a schedule. And it's built, again, right inside there. And you can see I'm inside Spectrum. This is the web page where you normally go in and say, set the record mode. This does not require a license with Spectrum to work. So you just plug it in, Spectrum discovers it, make sure you've got the right username and password, and away you go. So this is RTP multitasking. RTP is real-time transport protocol for multiclass. This way you can deliver audio, video, or time-sensitive streams to a bunch of different recipients. So usually the IP range is in here. I think there's another RTP range also. And this allows you, let's say you had 20 of these speakers, you only need to send one command or one file to this device. Okay. And it'll play on all 10 speakers. You don't have to click the button 10 times or do some crazy programming. It's designed to do what's called multitask, where it just sends out the audio stream to all devices, and these devices say, okay, that IP address is okay. I am going to capture that and play that audio or do that command. In here is also the firewall. So why would you want a firewall? There could be some sort of rogue person making crazy announcements over the IPPA system because they found somewhere or another someone didn't secure usernames or passwords or something like that. So you can restrict the speaker to only communicate with one IP address, like the Blackjack NVR. So this way, the only way it's going to take commands from anywhere is from these one or two IP addresses on the system. All right, and the last one is system. This is part of any sort of IP device. You can reboot it. You can reset it back to factory if it needs it, a firmware upgrade, and you can change the admin username and password from in here. So that's the speaker programming. That's 99% of what's in each camera. There's the ones that get louder, I think, have a little bit more different volume control on them, but that's really it. What's nice about these is very clear audio out of them. They're pre-configured DSP that makes sure it sounds really good, and our flexible installation options. So you've got your ceiling mount, your horn speaker, and your wall mount. So let's jump to our illuminators. And we have these IP illuminators, and this is a device where customer needs more whatever. This happens to be an IR version, 850 nanometer IR version, so it glows a little red. And this would be customer needs extra IR to wash over an area so the camera can see it better. All right. But what's nice about these is these are PoE plus, so you don't necessarily need an electrician to go out to power them. They'll run right off PoE, which is standard Ethernet cable. You can send commands to them. 850 nanometers, 614 feet. Very easy to use web interface, pretty much like all of our devices. Modular design, and we've got a bunch of mounting brackets for these also, so you can mount 1, 2, or 3 illuminators, create an array of light doing different things depending on how you want to set it up. Then we have the 940 nanometer, which is in the blue spectrum. It's actually in the invisible light spectrum, so they have a little less throw, but the same thing as a web user interface. And in all these, they come with this interchangeable lens pack, which allows you to set the angle of how much the light's going to spread out. And I'll show you the different options, but you can say, let's say I've got basically a 4mm lens view on somewhere. You might put in the 90 degree view one, so you can get almost the same view angle of light coming out as the camera view is. But you can also set it so it's fairly widely spread or very pinpoint light on a certain area. Then we also have a white light illuminator. Again, you can adjust the illumination level. You can adjust the illumination based on the time of events. The white light one also has a flash or strobe mode built into it. And again, this sort of modular design. But my favorite ones are the hybrid ones, because you can have the IR ones on at night covering a wide area, and then a person steps into view and you have your object detection on your analytic camera. It picks up that object as a person as opposed to a dog, cat, or whatever, and it will start strobing the light if you want. So it's a direct deterrent to people going on your property or things happening on different property or whatever. Then the same thing, but in the 940 nanometer, so the IR is invisible. It doesn't glow red at all. Has a little less IR range on it. And then again, we can easily change the angle of illumination. It comes with these different illumination things, which we'll talk about in a moment. So programming, I could actually, because of the way the web pages are formatted, this is all what's on the main web page. You want to enable events. You want to test the light, make sure everything works on it. You can then adjust your settings from here for IR power based on events, strobe. You have different types of strobe, temperature unit, which is just a temperature inside the unit. It has a self-protection. If it gets too hot, it won't turn on and try to flash the lights. You can just manually turn the power on and off. These are, again, more test modes than anything else. You have your IP settings. You can change your admin password. Tells you how to reset it back to factory default. And then you have the same section here. Your API, a little different formatting. We put the username and password first. So admin and admin123, very high security there. The IP address, okay. Strobe state, when does it turn on IR mode, turn off IR mode. And you can create manual modes via the Spectrum soft triggers, or you can have auto modes via the events in action in Spectrum, which we'll talk a little bit about near the end of this presentation. SiteWatch IP detectors send so Spectrum rules and engine notifications, these can send events to the lights, to the horns, to PTZs. You can have video pop up on a central station. We also have, which I don't have mentioned in here, are motion and laser detectors, which are also fully integrated with Spectrum. So we've got our different part numbers, okay? Hybrid version, HY. And then these are the different angle lenses that come with them. So you can have a circular one, which is 10 degree, which is like a spotlight on a specific area. 20 degrees, 30 degrees, again, depends on your lens you're using or what you want to cover. 95 would be a wide view, obviously, out of it. And then the distance and field of view. So we got some detailed information for you on how you want to use it. And then another accessory, which doesn't require a web page or very much setup, is our splitter. So let's say someone needed to add an extra illuminator somewhere. You can go and say, hey, I got a light near here. I can just run an extra 50 feet of cable to where the illuminator needs to be without having to run another cable all the way from the switch or network room. It's a great add-on, or you want to add a PoE speaker. This thing is a great add-on to a system because it'll save you a lot of time, a lot of aggravation. So you can have a single 90-watt input split the output. So 30 goes to one side, 60 goes to another. If you put a 60 watt in, it'll go 30 and 30. Okay. If you have something weird, 75 or whatever, it will still only make one 30 and the other one will get the leftover data. But data power carried over the same cable, obviously, no adapters required. It's a heavy duty piece of gear. It's IP67 and IK10 rated heavy duty aluminum housing. So this is, again, you have your different devices. I want to add a speaker. I want to add an illuminator. This saves a lot of labor by putting this in here. So next, we're going to talk about some new client features. All right. So what you need to do, those of you that haven't done it, you can create a cloud account directly from Spectrum, or you can do it directly from the DW Cloud webpage. And if you want, send me an email. I'll send you the link on how to do it. It's very easy to sign up. Here, it's literally create an account, username, password. You get an email, you verify it, and you've got a cloud account. So very easy to set up. And then you log into the cloud. And this is the web page. I didn't put the toolbar for the web page up here. And as you can see, it brings me to the DW Cloud web page. This shows DW Enterprise. We're going to have more on that in the very near future. But this shows systems that I have put online. So I've got a notebook I've put online. I've got these I now show all offline on here. These different systems that I've put online that I can do it. And then I have the systems that were shared with me. So I can go in and look at the Cerritos demo, Metapix demo, Tampa demo, click on them, and they'll open Spectrum and run them. But also they have, built-in playback in the web browser, export video in the web browser. So Spectrum on events can create bookmarks, and now you can get those bookmarks from the cloud. So now you can go to cloud and say, okay, I want to play back person at camera XBA08MA. And if you notice, all but one of our built-in deep learning analytic cameras start with an X. Okay, so if you want to know our deep learning analytic cameras, we call them our X-class cameras. We have one that starts with a PD, which is a dual camera unit. So you can also take this same bookmark and download it directly from the web page. All right, so you click download directly from the bookmark web page. You can also add users and remove users from the cloud, as long as, of course, you're a power user, all right, or what we call an administrator. Also, built into the cloud is the whole API. So if you want to have a third-party device send commands into Spectrum to have Spectrum do something, okay, we have all this available to you online. There's no NDAs you have to sign or anything. And we've got the easiest one, which is the server REST API, the server plugin, which talks to storage and a whole bunch of other things. And then we have the cloud API, including a couple of other tools in there. But when you go to the cloud API, it gives you how to use it, basic stuff. You can go to the generic event generator and you can test it against the server, make sure it's working right. You can even have it integrating with video analytics and metadata, how to send metadata into Spectrum for it to use it. So this particular part, as time goes on and people say, I want this system X to talk to Spectrum, once you figure out what they mean by talk, this may be something that can be done by yourself or with a little bit of hand-holding from us. So it's really a great feature and functionality built into that requires no messing around. Basically, it's pretty much open source software. Next thing we're going to talk about is the mobile client, because we've made improvements to the mobile client, and we've got iOS and Android versions. So the same thing, you've got your cloud account, you log into DW Cloud, you have systems that were shared with you. Okay, so cloud, log into cloud, and then you get this list of systems that were shared with you. You'll then see your layouts and cameras, all right? You can then turn on, do I want live previews? Do I save passwords? Use server time, enable hardware acceleration. Push notifications, do you want to get the push notifications? And then you got this one, beta features. Allows you to download video. If you're having, I would say this is actually for older phones, but speed up network connections, and then maximum decoder count for, again, speeding up for older devices. So over here, we've got our view. We're going to do a little object search. So I'm actually searching for people. Okay. It's going to find a person. And then I go over here, click. And then this is me just saying, okay, this is the one. I want that person that came out of there. I'm going to choose 1 minute. And then it's going to go here and it cut off, but you click save and it saves it directly to your phone. Okay, so you can just very quickly go in and save video directly to your mobile phone. So it's I think it's a big deal, and will improve the ability to say, oh, it's saved to my phone. Okay, let me forward this event or this thing that happened or whatever to someone without having to go somewhere else, find it again, download it or whatever. So let's talk the main client, whether it's Windows or Apple or Linux. One of the things we added was, in the past, we had to route via the SMTP server, and that became unwieldy. You used to be able to do it via Gmail, used to be these other services, and now, they need different authentication and all these different things to make them work. And we said, we've got this cloud thing. Can we make it a little more robust and route the emails via the cloud, which is what we did. So now you just say route via DW Cloud. You put in a short system description there, Tampa Digital Watchdog Office, whatever you want to call the site. Maybe the site just has a number. And this way, then when you get an email from it, which we'll show you in a second, how the email is formatted. All right. So new user interface is new users. So our new, we used to call people owners, and then we had administrators, which were really owners also. And then we have power users. Now we have administrators, which are the owners. Okay, so you're only creating 2 of those. And then the old administrator is now called a power user. Okay, so a power user can create any other type of user but a power user. So it requires an administrator to create or make someone a power user, just to put that in light. So that's the new user interface. It's much more granular. You can go in and either create a group, which you can add people to the group, or whatever, and those people can live view, but they can't play back, or however you want to restrict or enhance their usage of it. We also have a full LDAP integration, which will continually synchronize users and groups with the LDAP. It will import these people off their system. We have a new syncing option, which allows people to see, if they're administrators, what's going on with how it's syncing up with those. And we created a new user called a temporary user. So now you can give, let's say, local law enforcement or someone coming into the building, they need to see some video. They're going to be there just a day. You can give them restricted access or more access, maybe only live view playback, but they can't archive. Excuse me, to archive something. So I'll edit that stuttering out later. Sorry. Anyway, so you can give a valid link, revoke access after login, so they can only log in once. You can be really detailed on this. All right, so that's one new user feature. Right now, that user can only be local, but we'll be adding other capabilities in the future to that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about events in action. Okay, so over here, we've got our events in action page. Click there, add an event. You want to tell it what to add. Is it an analytic event, object detected, whatever? And so I'm going to say to this thing, send an email. Okay, so send an email, analytic object detected. So this is more like motion detection. So you have an analytic event, which is a line cross, but an analytic object detected is like, hey, in this view, if a person comes into view, or a forklift or a motorcycle, a truck, whatever, then that creates the reaction. So it can be the whole camera view. You don't have to worry about a line or whatever. Motion detection, there's activity, it sends you an email. This is going to send you an email, because we're actually going to show you what this is going to send a specific. I'm going to show you a specific thing. Send an email based on there just being a person in the view. Okay, so after 6 o'clock at night, got some extra lights behind a building and there's tractor trailers going around. You don't want people walking around behind this building. And so you have something that sends notifications, plays an announcement saying no people can be walking around behind this building, because you have it just detecting for persons. Okay. You can also go in and do soft trigger. So you can create a soft trigger to enable a rule, or enable recording, or disable a rule, or disable recording. So let's say you have actually this came up, which is the reason why I am going specifically into this one, is let's say someone needs to service an oil field site, and they have the camera analytics. No one's supposed to be in there, but they got to go in for a few hours to fix this. They can have someone log in from the main office and disable the rule while they go in, do their maintenance. And as they leave, of course, they need to call and say, hey, we're leaving the site, so turn back on that rule. But now you can disable remotely the rule. So let's go back to the events. Okay, events in action. So here's an example. I have our UPS truck, okay, via its license plate, send me this email, and I get it twice a day, when they deliver and when they pick up. All right, so it sends me that picture. I can say, okay, yeah, UPS got here right around 4:30. Okay, and it's just an experiment, because it's the same truck, same guy every time. And I actually only used a partial plate, so I used a six. I think it's 699 as a plate. So again, the events and actions are a really powerful feature. I want you guys to look into them and see what ways you can make them look to enhance your business and enhance the end user and your customer's experience. And the last thing is, built into version 6.03 is native support for MyDW, and we'll have much more information about that in the near future. But we have a SaaS service coming that allows you to alarm monitoring, live view, and playback all from the cloud. And you're talking directly into Spectrum with it. We have more stuff coming in the near future. So do you guys have any questions?